Some recent commentary has suggested that we may be on the brink of nuclear war with North Korea. I suspect that situation is very unlikely to occur. Well, in recent weeks, North Korea has been uttering a series of very specific and very belligerent threats, more specific than those it has issued in previous years. They've ranged from canceling the armistice agreement to shutting the hotline with South Korea to closing Kaesong, the joint industrial zone near the border region, to full-out nuclear war against Washington, Guam, and Hawaii. So its threats have been highly specific and have been more belligerent than we've seen in the past. One reason North Korea may be issuing these threats is, as it says, in direct response to the military exercises taking place in its backyard. North Korea could have a genuine fear of these types of exercises that we dismiss as merely war games, but North Korea could read as a preparation for a surprise attack. When a RUSI delegation visited Pyongyang in November, we were told by the North Korean army that it felt the US and South Korean exercises happening at that time were provocative. In their words, frequent clouds make rainfall. So there's some reason to suggest that the heightened level of rhetoric is happening directly as a result of military exercises, and that variations in the timing of military exercises might also bring variations in the North Korean level of threats. However, North Korea also, to an extent, and specifically Kim Jong-un, has something to prove to a domestic audience. Kim Jong-un was promoted by his father very quickly through the ranks of the North Korean military, and we saw those as largely undeserved promotions for Kim Jong-un. He may feel he has to prove something to the military that he now runs, and this may be a move to consolidate power in that way. One suggestion for policymakers in response to current developments could be to pursue talks, not necessarily negotiations. Those talks, while they may not lead North Korea to abandon its nuclear program, may assist Western countries in reducing the very high risk of miscalculation that exists at the current time. Without any kind of dialogue, misperception, miscalculation is a much greater possibility than it might otherwise be. So a simple dialogue with North Korea could avoid this kind of tension happening in the future, though it may not necessarily resolve all of the issues that we have with North Korea at the present time. One additional benefit of talks is that we might get further clarity on exactly the question of how sincere North Korea's threat perception of military exercises is. Without dialogue, we have a hard time knowing whether or not those fears are really founded and what steps we might take to reduce tensions. President Clinton, for instance, felt that he should call off military exercises to reduce the possibility of tensions occurring as a result of them, and to incentivize the North Koreans to negotiate on the nuclear program. That could be a policy evaluated in the future. It may not necessarily be desirable, but having the dialogue to establish what steps could prevent a return to this situation would be intrinsically valuable. Some recent commentary has suggested that we may be on the brink of nuclear war with North Korea. I suspect that situation is very unlikely to occur. The greater risk is actually one of miscalculation, where one side in this conflict reads the intentions of the other incorrectly and might perceive that a strike on it is imminent and potentially existential and chooses to preempt that action. And we could end up in a situation of military conflict that neither side would otherwise have wanted to get into.